Hola! Today I am going to speak about my journey learning English and the feelings that can get in the way of you speaking Spanish. Be ready. I am about to get personal. I will address three feelings I see students and families have to overcome to become bilingual. Let's do this. Bienvenidos to the podcast for Bilingual Mindset. I am Karim Morato, your host and Spanish language coach. You are in the right place if you want company in your bilingual journey for your family or for yourself. Mi casa es tu casa. ¿Listos? 1, 2, 3. Aquí vamos. Welcome back. Bienvenidos. I call this episode the three feelings that will stop you from speaking Spanish. Negative feelings will impact learning and the ability to move forward. You know, learning English has been a 30-year plus journey, yes. And still learning, I still speak imperfect English, but learning to speak English changed my life. And I know that if your children or you learn to speak Spanish, it will change your life. So parents, it will change your children's lives if they learn how to speak Spanish. So now let's talk about the first feeling, fear, miedo. The older you get, the more conscious you are about speaking a second language. You are more self-aware of how you sound, how people react when you speak. I was scared to speak English. I was self-aware that I had an accent, still I have one. My grammar was wrong, still is wrong sometimes, and I didn't know enough words to express my ideas. Sometimes my accent made me feel uneducated, but I love what Eric McManus say. He is one of my favorite authors, by the way, and speakers. He say that having an accent is a sign of being educated. So for everyone out there with an accent, when you speak your second language, let me remind you that you are educated. You are bilingual or becoming bilingual. So you have to be patient because you are learning to speak a second language and you will speak two languages one day. Now let's go back to the feeling of fear. So when I was learning English, I was afraid to make a fool of myself. But to tell you the truth, my biggest fear was being rejected by people. I thought if people did not understand me, they would reject me. Now, I have a funny story. Well, now it's funny, but when it happened, it was just sad. I applied to work in a daycare, and I was a teacher in my country, so I think I can do this job. So I felt working in a daycare was going to be a good opportunity for me. And they say, okay, come and let's do a test. And it was good being with children. Well, let me tell you something. I failed the test because one of the children told me that he needed to go potty. And I say, well, no, not right now. Right now is not time for potty. I thought he wanted to go to a fiesta. And guess what? He peed in his pants. After that incident, I was told, thank you, but no thank you. I was not giving a job. So when you have a negative experience, you will get worse. The fear is going to feel bigger. It will paralyze you from speaking, and it will keep you from taking action. So parents, if you have young children learning Spanish at a young age, it is crucial to do it when they are young because your children lack fear. They are fearless. Children are not afraid to speak. They think learning Spanish is fun. Even when they make mistakes, they think that's fun. I have witnessed that with the families who are doing my elementary program. The children develop a love for speaking and they build confidence. So let's move to the second feeling, doubt, duda. I doubted my ability to learn English. I doubted my future would be bright because learning English felt like a mission impossible. I remember one of my first jobs was working at Kmart. Yes, I am all, soy viejita. Kmart? What's Kmart? You can Google it. I remember putting items on the shelves every day and learning the words of the items. I used to ask myself how I was going to remember so many words. I dreamed of going to college and getting my teaching degree to teach Spanish, but I have to fight the overwhelming feeling of doubt. And I replace it with discipline, with action, applying what I was learning while doing my job. I felt bad the times people asked me for things and I didn't understand what they were asking me for. But I kept learning and interacting and I kept increasing my fluency. By the way, when you encounter someone who is still learning English and is trying to help you, they are already nervous talking to you. So you being relaxed and speaking slowly and smiling will help the person try to speak the second language. But let's go back to the feeling of doubt. Do you ever feel that learning Spanish is impossible for you or your children? Maybe you are about to give up or have given up altogether because you doubt your children can become bilingual. Also, maybe you doubt that you may not become bilingual. One thing that helped me in my journey was 3 amazing English teachers. They were excellent teachers. They had a methodology and they were great teachers. But more important, these teachers believe in me. These teachers will remind me all the time, you can do it, tú puedes. When my internal voice in my head will say, no one understands you, your accent is too strong, you never make it to regular college classes, your grammar is always incorrect. My teachers will always remind me, you can do this, tú puedes. This helped me persevere until I made it out of ESOL classes. It took me forever. So shout out to all these amazing teachers out there. We need you. Shout out to all homeschool parents who are educating their children at home. You can do it. And also, maybe you are a parent that your kids are going to a maybe public school, a private school, but you are teaching them Spanish. Shout out to you. And also shout out to all the Spanish students learning Spanish. Tú puedes. All right, let's keep moving on and let's talk about the third feeling. That is the feeling of being tired, cansada. We get tired of trying. We are humans. We live in a culture that constantly tells us to take the easy way or the shortcut. We may say to ourselves, why are you working so hard when you can use translator tools? Oh, AI is here, baby. You do not need to use your brain because AI will speak for you. Well, I want to make a point here. If you are studying Spanish just as an academic subject, you may give up as soon as you do not need to keep studying. But I want to challenge you and invite you to learn Spanish as a human skill. You learn Spanish because you want to connect with people who speak Spanish. So when you focus on people, you will have the energy and the motivation to keep going. One secret to not getting tired is to focus on people. Someone say to me one time, it's all about people. When you learn Spanish because you want to connect with people, you will have a sense of responsibility to learn a language because you want to connect with people and you realize it's not about you. I still remember my students saying their motivation to me. I want to learn Spanish because I am going to a mission trip and I want to speak with the children. Another student say, I want to speak Spanish because I am going to be a doctor and I want to speak with my future patients in Spanish. other motivation. I want to speak Spanish because I want to be a children's counselor and I want to speak with the families. Another common one, some of my students will say, I want to learn Spanish because I want to travel to Nicaragua, Spain, Dominican Republic, Mexico, Guatemala. Some of the most amazing reasons are some families that have said to me, we want to speak Spanish because we are adopting children. Others have said to me, we have family in Mexico and in the future we are planning to move to Mexico. So one question I have for you is, what is your reason for learning Spanish? Write it down and say it aloud and share it with the people. Share it with me. I want to hear from you. And when you get tired, remember your reason so you can tell that feeling, sorry, you cannot be tired. Now, maybe you are super tired. You could maybe say, sorry, you can be tired for today only, but tomorrow we're gonna keep going. So to finish, I want to challenge you to recommit to taking imperfect actions. Speak to your fear, your doubt, your tiredness, and say, I am bilingual. Yo soy bilingüe. Commit to becoming bilingual. Commit to a few words every day, a few phrases every day, maybe one phrase every day, one verb every day, one short lesson every day, one song, one short book. Now it's time for me to confess. It took me a lot of time to convince myself to create this English podcast. It would have been easier for me to do this in Spanish, but I am here speaking with my imperfect English to you, to my families, to my students who are committed to becoming bilingual. I have to shut down the fear, the doubt, and the tiredness. Instead, I say this podcast is going to be for my listeners. I am focusing on you, my listener. Wow, we reached at the end of this episode. But before I go, if you're a parent who wants to know how to navigate Spanish learning for your family, go to the show notes and click to the link to register for one of my parents' webinar. I would love to connect with you and support you in your bilingual journey. So remember, mi casa es tu casa. I will see you next time. Hasta luego. Hola, muchas gracias. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found value and encouragement in this episode. It will mean the world to me to know how this podcast is impacting you. Por favor, please take a few minutes to let me know and leave a review. When you leave a 5-star review, it will help others discover the podcast. Do not forget to subscribe. See you soon. Hasta luego.